What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Bible Wisdom. I wanted to make another marriage video for today. And it's talking about kind of this all or nothing phrase came to mind in that, we take a risk with getting married because, that person can possibly hurt you, right? That person can possibly not live up to a certain expectation that you have of them. And we also have to think about it from another perspective, is that you could possibly do something wrong in the relationship where you do not live up to the standard that they are expecting of you. And so, when thinking about should you get married, should you not get married, kind of like, what is your motivation for staying in a marriage? I think that we really have to stick to what God has revealed to us, is that, husbands, you need to love your wife. And so, I have to think about, how am I being loving? How am I, really operating in that command every day? And then also, I think we have to have this turn the other cheek mentality, in that, we do believe God will deliver us from different troubles. As Christians, we need to have faith that, the proverb says that the righteous come through trouble, but the fears of the wicked will come upon him. And so that brings me up to another point, is that, do you have any sort of wicked behavior in your life? Because then God says, that those fears will come on you. And so, this, I think, is a motivation to all of us to live righteously and persevere through hard times. There's so many times that we just feel so awful, so bad about, our marriage. And I think one thing that I realized personally is that, I kind of had marriage, or the spouse that I was with, as an idol. And an idol is someone who replaces God, or something that replaces God. And I think what I was doing, without really fully realizing it, but I kind of did realize it, is that, I was expecting someone to just do everything that I say, or to just live a certain way, to just have this I think I was having this level of perfection for a person that they can't really live up to. And so that brings me up to another point, is just like, do you have some sort of level of perfection that you're expecting, your spouse to have? Because, again, when you're getting married, you are entering into some sort of risky agreement that, you are saying, hey, irregardless of the pain that I know is going to come through marriage, I'm going to go ahead and take the plunge of getting married. And so, God, he made us, he made all people, all angels, knowing that they would hurt his heart, and actually hurt him physically on the cross, when Jesus died on the cross. So, God still went through with it. And so, I think that's what you have to ask yourself if you're watching this video, and maybe you are wondering whether you are wanting to get married, or whether you are going to stay married. And then also, what I've just been finding some victory in is when you're praying according to God's will, he's going to answer that prayer. Most likely that it says, ask and you will receive. And so, praying to Jesus and asking him, how do I fix this situation? How do I, um, win in this situation? And then lastly, the one thing I want to talk about is how we need to not be focused on marriage. I do find it helpful talking about marriage and just, just thinking about how to have a successful marriage. But also, we need to not only focus on marriage, but focus mostly on God, on the kingdom of God, on Jesus, and all the things that he's wanting us to do. Because Jesus said how in a parable, someone uses marriage as an excuse to not become a Christian or to not go to the kingdom of heaven. And they said that they got married, and so they were too busy to actually, answer God's call. And which is, the call to salvation, the call to live for God, the call to live godly. And, I think one thing I remember noticing when I was single is that a lot of married men don't fully seem to be godly, and it's a rare thing to actually find someone who is married who is, I just think really godly or just sound in kind of heavenly things instead of just worldly things of like, advice of like, to have a better job, to do different things to kind of, make your married life better, or different worldly things. And so anyway, I think what I wanted to mention in this video is that, I think a lot of the problem in our marriages could stem from just not attending to the call of God and answering God's call, rather than trying to answer everything about our spouse and, address all the different problems that come along in marriage, like, all the different things that we could think about that could go wrong in marriage. I think that, it is somewhat unavoidable to have, trouble. Is kind of like, it just comes with being alive, whether you are married or not. I know that even before I got married, I know I had been through different struggles, but I do remember a lot of the pain that I've had comes from, a sort of romantic type of relationship. And so what I've learned from that is that, I've had other type of pain too, but I think my point in this short video is that, we need to stay focused on the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God, and, also calling on Jesus to change the bad situation in our life, and then also calling on Jesus to give us wisdom before we enter into a bad situation. Because that's kind of one of the things that Proverbs talks about, is that we need to get wisdom before we enter into a test or trial. And so we handle that situation correctly. So anyway, I hope you got something from this video. I think we need to remember to turn the other cheek in regards to our spouse. We need to remember to forgive. And we need to remember to not be paranoid, not be anxious, not be worried about all the things that can go wrong, but realize when you are truly a believer and you truly focus on Jesus, you will see victory. So if you have faith for that. So thanks so much, and I will talk to you on the next video. See ya.